God, 2 in 1. It's the Great Deliverance and Anointing Service of the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries 2025 and the December edition of Power Must Change Hands, 6th of December 2025, 7 a.m. Come soak yourself in this divine atmosphere that will propel you into divine settlement. Dr. D.K. Olukoya, the General Overseer, Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, will be ministering live. The Great Deliverance and Anointing Service and the December edition of PMCH. Come to this meeting fasting with 2 bottles of oil, believing God, it is done.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
Thank you very much for staying with us. The theme of this year's Persons with Disabilities 2025 is Fostering Disability Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress. The objective of the theme is to make sure that each person with disabilities is treated with dignity, rights, and full participation in society. This year's observance builds directly on the momentum of the 2nd World Summit for Social Development held in Doha on the 4th to 6th of November 2025, where world leaders reaffirmed their commitment to building a just, inclusive, and equitable world. Today, we'll be exploring what this important day means for our society, the progress made so far, and the challenges still facing persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Honorable Bashir Daudu is on the program tonight as the Chairman House Committee on Disability Matters. He'll be sharing with us his vision for inclusion, what the government is doing, and how we as individuals and communities can support empowerment and equal opportunity. Honorable Daudu, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm very glad to be here.
So, this day is another troubling reminder that millions of Nigerians with disabilities remain invisible in the country's national development plans. You know, on Monday, I was speaking with Dr. Jacob Pele. He was not pleased that no persons with disability was included in President Tinubu's ambassadorial list. For him, this shows that we have not really made progress. And when you also look at the report from from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. As many as 35 million Nigerians live with one or more disabilities. Yet, despite the scale of the population, many still face daily barriers to basic services, social inclusion, and meaningful participation in society. And this is a conversation you and I started about 2 years ago. Why are we still struggling?
Thank you for reminding me of that. You know that we had this interview before, and once again, I'm very glad that you are putting a searchlight on this very, very important issue. Just like in other aspects of Nigerian life, the disability community is not exempt. We are still having a community that is facing stigmatization, discrimination, lack of access, lack of accessibility in terms of transportation, education, health, and very importantly, the lack of employment. So those challenges are still there. But the way I would like to look at it is that to say that we're making baby steps, but we're not where we should be. I think from the Nigerian context, just like you see in other climes, the important thing is that your house passed the Disability Act, which you are very familiar with, 2018, with moratorium. And the 10th Assembly has gone as far as to have resolutions to implement the compliance of MDAs, looking at it from the perspective that when we do for the disability community, we are not doing charity that is about rights, protection of rights, as well as welfare of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. So on that particular note, the committee has conducted oversight into several, I would say at the last count, probably about 20 MDAs with very significant findings. We find that there is a very high unawareness about the law and high non-compliance of the law, which has to change if Nigeria is to move forward. That's in terms of the House. Since the last time you and me spoke, I can also tell you that in the parliament, in the Nigerian parliament, you now have the presence of sign language interpreters, which is the first time in the history of Nigerian parliament. Also in this parliament, to set an example, the National Assembly was audited for accessibility of persons with disability. So that's what I mean by baby steps. The same law established the National Commission for Persons with Disability, and it is this Disability Commission that is empowered to implement the policies of the federal government in terms of disability matters. That would be my short response to that.
And I'm happy you called them baby steps. But of course, the challenges you've highlighted so far show just how wide the gap is. But I'm also wondering, how does this year's theme align with Nigeria's current disability agenda? What message would you want Nigerians to take away from this year's theme or commemoration?
Yeah, the great thing about Nigeria's commitment is that if you look at the Renew Hope agenda, disability strongly features there. There's no doubt about that this presidency and this government is committed to disability. And I can understand the concern of Jake Epele that we still think that there is not inclusion as we would like in terms of the cabinet, in terms of the ambassadorial list and all dimensions of the Nigerian life. I think the way I would look at it is that we have to be persistent and in terms of our commitments and reminding the government and governance that the Nigerian society is incomplete without 35 million Nigerians getting involvement in these activities. Let's face it, non-inclusion is expensive because when you are excluding more than 35 million people, you are excluding a significant sector of your productive life. So we have to continue to ensure that in our climate, that there is no excuse for lack of inclusion. That's why we're looking at it from the legal perspective. But in terms of governance as a whole, there's still much to be desired. Actually, not only in the federal government, I would say even when it comes to the state governments. Believe it or not, as at now, there are some states that have not domiciled the Disability Act. This will shock some people to know. So, but from our own angle, we will not stop in terms of pressuring those in positions of authority to make the difference. Thank you very much for the question.
And to be very frank, Honorable, I mean, this is a very serious conversation. Nigeria has a population of over 250 million Nigerians, and we have just 35 million Nigerians living with disabilities. And I'm wondering why we're still talking about baby steps. Your committee has oversight over the implementation of the Disability Act, and as of 2025, only 23 or 23, yes, you said 24 earlier, of these 36 states have enacted these laws, and only 15 have functional agencies. How is your committee holding non-compliant states accountable?
Yeah, that's the perspective, observation that you have. The Nigerian structure, when you look at the Constitution, is quite explicit. You have the executive, you have the judiciary, and you have the legislature. And the way it works is that when the federal legislature passes a bill and is signed into law to become an act by the president, in this case, President Buhari, it now goes to all the states to domicile the law. So the way this is usually done, of course, it's not done under duress, it's not done by force. It's going to be more of a persuasion and making the governors to recognize that this is in interest. I mean, these days when we are even talking about security, we have had reports that some of the folks in the disability community act as lookout for some of these bandits because they are the lowest run of the society. So you're right, more needs to be done on the subnationals, even in the local government, to make sure that when you and me talk again next year, we're not going to be saying the same thing.
You know, I asked that question because in 2024, you publicly lamented MDA's failure to comply with the Disability Act. But a year later, there is little visible change, and we're still talking about baby steps. What are the results, or what concrete results has your committee achieved since that public hearing? And kindly hold on, sir, how are you also ensuring that these MDAs comply with accessibility requirements? Honorable, did you get that? I was reminding you of how vocal you were. Can you hear me now? I was reminding you of how vocal you were in 2024 when you publicly lamented MDA's failure to comply with the Disability Act. But a year later, we're still talking about baby steps. There is little visible change. So what concrete results has your committee achieved since the public hearing, and how are you ensuring MDAs comply with accessibility requirements?
Okay. I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, then I will take it from the way I understand what you're saying. There is no doubt. I remember we had that conversation. And I've also stated that we have visited over 20 MDAs and found them to be lacking. So the question is, what did we do? What the Constitution allows us to do when we do oversight is to come up reports. The reports are sent to them. And if we think that there are sanctions, the sanctions are actually implemented by the National Commission for Persons with Disability, which is where the referral were made to. The National Assembly is not in position to establish the sanctions that we think might be very effective in this case. What we tend to do is come up with reports, but we have other areas where we can add. Part of it is budgeting. which we can ensure that when the budgets are done by MDAs, that they take into cognizance inclusion of PWDs in their everyday activity. And I think we're doing that. Thank you for the question.
So let's go back to state and the effort you're making so we can have full compliance, especially with these governors. And I would like for you to provide a breakdown of which states remain compliant, and is there a timeline for enforcement or follow-up visits by the committee? Honorable,
I didn't hear the last part, but
I want you to give us a timeline. Is there a timeline for enforcement or follow-up visits by the committee?
I think there's a timeline for there's a timeline which is the duration of the time of the 10th Assembly for the MDAs, the ministries, departments, and agencies. There is no timeline for enforcement or compliance of the states. And then you are talking about the separation of powers. But I get your concern and your passion about this situation, and I feel the same way. But we are very limited in terms of getting the governors to comply with the law. But we have more strength in terms of ensuring that the MDAs comply with the law. So the timeline for the MDAs is during the duration of this 10th Assembly. The answer to your question is that no, we don't have the timeline to and the powers to investigate the governors in this case. Thank you for the question.
What about a breakdown of the states that have remained non-compliant?
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, sure. I mean, you're talking about 23. You're talking about 23 states which I cannot recite right now, but I know that Lagos is compliant, Oyo is compliant, and what we'll do, I can send you the list of the states that are compliant when I get out of the studio.
I'm interested in the states that have remained non-compliant. But let's move on quickly. Right. Inclusive education remains largely theoretical. Honorable, what exactly are the policies that this committee has pushed so far to ensure schools and tertiary institutions adopt inclusive practices? Honorable Dauda, are you having challenges hearing me?
Yes, I am.
But can you hear me now?
But I can, that you were talking about the education, the issues of
inclusive education. What policies has your committee pushed to ensure schools and tertiary institutions adopt inclusive practices? How far have we gone in creating truly inclusive educational environments for children with disabilities?
All right. Once again, this is actually a teachable moment, that we need to emphasize the separation of powers. What are the functions of the National Assembly and what are the functions of the executive? This is what the committee has done in terms of education, the Ministry of Education as well as UBEC. We have actually oversighted UBEC, which is in charge of primary education. And we observe that if you look at the UBEC Act, 2% of their budget was supposed to go to disability. So that is an area that we have looked at and we're still looking at, because we actually find that there is non-compliance in terms of what we are doing. And that is an area that we need to really pursue when it comes to when they bring their new budget. Yes, but in terms of really carrying out the everyday activity of special education, this is like we were saying earlier on, is that the purview of the states and the local governments who are responsible for education. Now, when it comes to the federal government and the universities, we're in the process of oversighting the universities to see how well they are complying with the inclusivity of persons with disability. Thank you for the question.
What exactly are the biggest barriers? Is it funding? Is it training? Is it infrastructure or policy?
Okay, yeah. The barriers are actually quite significant. The way you look at it is that on one hand, we talk about inclusion. I think in some instances, the educators strongly feel that there are some children with disabilities that cannot be in an inclusive setting. But this is what the law says. The law says that, that every child with disability shall have access, must be educated until secondary school level. The law also says that educators should be well compensated, and then their education should be subsidized. The law also says that there should be inclusive environment for persons with disabilities so that they can fully integrate it. It also says that, you know, assistive devices and accessory devices that are needed to ensure education of these children should be provided, like Braille or the presence of sign language interpreters. No doubt about that. But I think your question is how well as these education districts or education ministries complied with the Act. I think if we are not able to get this done on the state and local government level, we still have a very long way to go. Thank you for the question.
But because of the conversation you raised earlier, I'm interested in knowing the current number or percentage of disability-friendly schools nationwide, and how many more are being built under your watch. Did you get that, Honorable?
Well, once again, if you look at the way schools are set up in Nigeria, the schools are set up by the state governments and the local governments. The federal government is just having this overarching view of the education in terms of policy and providing funding. Even UBEC, it's not at the center of constructing or building schools. They do some of that. The answer is that that is an information that is like other parts of the disability society, the community. What we find is that we really lack data. For example, we say that there are 35 million persons with disability in Nigeria, but we don't have the exact data. But that's an area that should be seriously looked into, that how many of the districts and how many of the states really have inclusion as their mantra.
All right, Honorable.
Thank you for the question.
Right, we'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll talk about what is being done to improve employment opportunities for persons with disabilities. Please stay with us, everyone.
Marina station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call permanent solutions.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Meet Benga Oreshegun, a fearless voice and an advocate.
Staying on the story,
till attention is gotten and action is taken. When we say at TVC News, we are first with breaking news. It is not just a position. It is a philosophy, a principle, and a culture.
Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight we're focused on 2025 International Day of Persons with Disabilities. And I've been speaking with Honorable Bashir Dawudu, Chairman House Committee.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a very, very important question, because it's not enough for us to say that we're doing charity to PWDs and we see that they are begging at bus stops and stops, and our policy is that we're going to round them up and go or send them to their states, or like we're deporting them to their states, where there's no rehabilitation for them, there's no education, and there's no employment. But guess what? The law is that every time that the public sector is doing employment, at least 5% of those who employ should be persons with disability. During our oversights to over the 20 MDAs, we found that that is actually not the case. You know, folks are employing, sometimes even employment is going on in some agencies right now to the tune of 30,000, 20,000. And you find that they're not even meeting the quota. Sometimes they're not even trying. Sometimes they say they are not aware. So this is actually a very sad situation. That I'm glad that, you know, we're engaging in this conversation and you are assisting us by letting the MDAs that are watching us tonight know that.
And the sad reality,
it's not a favor, that is the law of the, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
The sad reality is that we would have the same conversation next year. This same conversation, this same complaint. I mean, it's sad. It's funny, and at the same time, it's not funny, because many PWD groups claim they are not represented in committee consultations as well. And some of the questions we have continued to ask is, why are policy decisions made without broad input from disability organizations? Why do PWDs remain underrepresented in public appointments despite legislative backing?
Yes, I have no disagreement with what you're saying. I'm with you all the way, and I share that perspective that you have, that we're not doing right by the persons with disability. That and this is not, when we are saying this thing, you and me talking about it, we're not mad. You know, I visited Korea, you know, and I saw what they're doing with PWs there. The employment law they really enforce, and the penalties are strong, even in the private sector. So this has enabled them to have vocational centers all around their country. So pre-employment, employment, education, everything is tight. It's a fantastic place for PWDs. So it's something that we can do. But sadly enough, you know, just like in other parts of Nigerian society, if we don't take extreme measures, it seems like folks don't listen to what they're saying. You know, even when you look at the law, it took the PWDs several protests and a lot of demonstrations to even get the law passed. And I know in this our term, you know, as of yesterday, there were PWDs that were actually protesting in an agency. So this is something that definitely needs to change, you know. Thank you for your observation.
Right. And I'm wondering if compliance level is this low or poor, if every year we continue to have the same conversations, if the challenges are getting enormous instead of reducing, is this too much burden on your committee? What more do we need to do as a nation to ensure full compliance?
Okay, yeah, that's also a very, very significant question. I think it's important to state that the implementation of the law itself is with the executive. By the executive, I'm talking about the Disability Commission. That's their primary function. They're supposed to go around and see the folks that are not implementing the law, and they have the instruments of justice to refer for prosecution. There are a lot of sanctions and penalties in the law. But from the perspective of the National Assembly, we are started with the oversight of the MDAs, which is what we're doing. And in terms of what we are able to do in terms of penalties, virtually none. Basically, what we do is that we refer to the Commission, who will now refer to SGF to implement where there are gaps. Right. So, but our own major work has been to be in terms of awareness and making sure they are able to, they're on the right track to do what they are supposed to do.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight. You know, as we mark this year's Day of Persons with Disabilities, it's a reminder that building inclusive, secure, resilient communities is a responsibility we all share. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Honorable Bashir Daudu is the Chairman House Committee on Disability Matters. Thank you for your time. So we'll take another short break, and when we return, the Senate confirmation of General Christopher Musa as Nigeria's Minister of Defense will be our focus. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us, everyone. We continue our conversation from where we stopped last night, as the Senate has officially confirmed General Christopher Musa as a new Minister of Defense, a development that has drawn attention from both political and security circles. And to help us unpack what this means for our nation's defense landscape, we're joined by Abdullah Idris Zuru, a contemporary affairs analyst. Welcome to the program, Mr. Zuru. Thank you for joining me on Politics Tonight.
So we can see them here.
Thank you, Mr. Zuru. Can you hear me? General Musa has been confirmed as Minister of Defense, but based on his record and public statements, how committed do you think he is to addressing Nigeria's security challenges effectively? Mr. Zuru, are you there? Can you hear me? All right. Looks like we're having challenges speaking with Mr. Zuru. Let's take a break, and I'll be right back. Stay with us, everyone.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Thank you for staying with us, everyone. General Christopher Musa has been confirmed as Minister of Defense, and based on his record and public statements, how committed is he to addressing Nigeria's security challenges effectively? And I have on the program tonight Abdullah Idris Zuru, a contemporary affairs analyst. Thank you so much for staying with us, for joining us on the program, Mr. Zuru. Can you hear me now?
I hear you clearly now.
Right. So Nigeria faces multiple security threats. We're talking about insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, separatist agitations, and kidnapping. How equipped is General Musa to address such a complex security environment?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. General Christopher Musa, as far as we are concerned here in KB, particularly our Executive Governor, Dr. Nasiru Idris Arangwandu, I'm very sure he is one of the happiest persons in this country with the appointment of Christopher Musa as Minister of Defense. He sees Christopher Musa as somebody that will produce magic. To start with, he praised the focus, the foresight of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for giving him the direction to choose the right person for the job. Why I said this is Christopher Musa, when he was Chief of Defense Staff, he has given Dr. Nasir Kaurangondu enough support. He has all through giving him the support through advice and suggestions on how to curtail the menace of armed banditry in our state. He did that his capacity as chief of defense staff. Christopher Musa frequent Kebbi because of his conviction that the governor is committed to protecting the life and the properties of the people of Benin Kebbi being destroyed by armed bandits. Why is this so? Governor Kaura accepted the suggestions given to him by Christopher Musa by providing logistic support. I can say enough logistic support to facilitate the control of armed banditry in the state. And that is why he paid special attention to Kebbi because of the demonstrated commitment of the governor to ending armed banditry in this state. That is why he frequents the state. He requested for logistic support. His Excellency Comrade Nasuru provided 100 Hilux Toyotas and 5,000 motorcycles.
Okay.
His Excellency requested for additional military base around the state, which Christopher Musa provided. In short, he has contributed a lot in ensuring that bandits have no base in Kebbi State. They only come around, troop on transit, do their recently act, and go back to where they are coming from.
Right.
Or they will
So
go
it means you're right. So it means you're very happy with this confirmation.
Yes, very, very happy. Like I said, Comrade Dr. Nasuru is one of the happiest.
All right then. I mean, during his confirmation hearing, he raised several concerns about the state of the armed forces. Which of these concerns should Nigeria view as most urgent? And for context, he highlighted equipment shortages and welfare of troops. How likely is the government to prioritize these issues under his leadership?
You mean the Kebbi State government or the federal government?
I'm talking about General Musa. He raised several concerns about the state of the armed forces. So I'm asking, which of these concerns should Nigerians view as most urgent? I mean, he was talking about equipment shortages and welfare of troops. Also, how likely is the government to prioritize these issues under his leadership?
Exactly, he did. And you might have heard the senators, some of them, advising for additional funding. They are advocating for increase in the allocation of the armed forces in order to make them to provide enough working equipment to be able to take good care of those in the field as a form of motivation to encourage them. He raised fundamental issues, and you must have that. Most of the senators, almost all those that spoke or that asking questions, they are in tandem. I mean, they are on the same page, requesting for enough funding for the armed forces to encourage them to do the needful. So it's in order, and he's talking from experience. He was a theater commander in the Northeast, and he moved to different places as commandant before he was finally appointed as chief of defense staff that take care of all the armed forces, including the other security agencies in the country.
All right.
So it's a large solution, and he has been supported.
You talked about budget and funding, and with public scrutiny at an all-time high, what measures do you think General Musa can implement to restore trust in the defense ministry? How should he handle transparency in defense spending and procurement, which have been perennial issues?
He has been an insider all along. As a commandant, he knows how they operate, he knows how they distribute, and he knows to some extent how the money is being utilized or otherwise. So with that experience, with that knowledge of utilization of funds, he is in a better position now to bring together his lieutenants to maybe change the pattern of utilization of funds being allocated to the armed forces. He knows where it will work. He knows those that are committed. He knows the areas that need priority, and he knows those that are that has the capacity and the patriotism to implement his plans to end the present security challenges in this country.
Mm. And because we're talking about accountability, there are those who have raised the issue, the conversations about the balancing the need for secrecy in certain military operations with the public demand for transparency. But perhaps we'll talk about that some other day. The armed forces have struggled with troop morale, poor welfare, and corruption. How prepared do you think the general is to confront some of these institutional issues it was once part of? Can someone who rose through the same system lead a cleanup, or is there a likelihood that he would be constrained by loyalty networks?
Anyway, shortly before he retired as chief of defense staff, you must have noticed he was going around telling the troops that they should not wait for any order before they confront the bandits. They should protect themselves, protect the communities they are asked to protect, and do the right thing. And warn that anybody found wanting in the discharge of his duty will be court-martialed. And anybody that is found to be doing the right thing, he will be compensated. So like I said, having been in the system for long, having led the armed forces for some time, he knows how they operate. He must know the shortcomings. He must know the loopholes. And now that he's going to be in charge of all armed forces, including the chief of defense staff, he will be able to draw their attention based on experience and how we think they will succeed. His major concern, like I understood him very well, is patriotism, not welfareism, not accumulation of wealth, but how can he assist the president in checkmating these menace that have become so jarring, so unfortunate to Nigerians.
And there are some stakeholders have also talked about the need for politicians to hands off so General Musa can succeed. Is that a concern for you?
Already, if you look at it, even when he was chief of defense staff, he's been careful on how he relates with the politicians. I don't know whether you have noticed that during his time as chief of defense staff, he goes out wherever he is requested or wherever he thinks he needs to go based on reports submitted to him. That is why I told you he frequents Kebbi because of the commitment of the government towards ending this armed banditry. So he is being careful on how he relates, how he relates with the politicians as it affects his role, as it affects his assignment as the chief of defense staff. He cannot be partisan. He has to take the interest of Nigerians at heart first. And that is what he has been doing when he was chief of defense staff, to the best of my knowledge, and to those who have been following his activities must confirm that. And now that, like I said, he is overall boss of the armed forces, not chief of defense staff. So from the experience he had, he'll be able to make amends and strategize on how to achieve results.
And I'm still taking a look at some of the other concerns you raised, one of which is the prolonged trials of suspects in Nigeria's criminal justice system, especially those linked to terrorism and violent crimes. How significant is this issue for national security?
That is a Herculean task, but the trust and confidence the president has in him, which made him appointed him as a minister, I think he still has the power to bring together those concerned and to find out what are the factors militating against immediate or smooth prosecution of people arrested, that constitute a threat to the unity and the peace and the security of this country.
Right.
With the support of the president, he can. If the president has truly seen somebody in him that can serve the country, he should also give him the authority to call whoever is involved to order. First of all, let him have a roundtable conference with those responsible for prosecution of those type of people. If it fails, the discussions, the suggestions fail, then he can ask for further additional powers from the president, or request the president to do the needful. Point out to him, these are the people creating problem in the prosecution of those found guilty, those found to be creating conflict, to be creating crisis, to be creating insecurity in the country.
All right, that sounds fair. But we also saw Senator Wadata urging the minister nominee, now confirmed, to be steadfast alongside some word of caution. If you don't deliver in 6 months, the Senate would call for your removal. At the same time, ordinary Nigerians also have these high expectations of him, which, some are worried that this comes with a lot of pressure. What benchmarks should the public use in evaluating his performance after 6 months?
Well, my sister, General Christopher has proven his capacity, and that is why he has been considered for this very sensitive position. What he requires is not deadline. What he requires is not ultimatum. What he requires is prayers and support from all and sundry to pray to God to guide him to succeed. The issue of ultimatum, the issue of does not even arise. Give him time. It doesn't. If you want him to do fire brigade approach just to impress you, it won't work.
Okay.
Let him strictly execute his own plan based on his conviction that he will produce results. But by the time you stampede him, give him an ultimatum, will his mind be in achieving results or in thinking that he is likely to fail because he has been given ultimatum? What he requires from Nigerians is prayers. And I'm sure the president has confidence in him, he has trust in him, and he thinks he can deliver by the special grace of God.
All right, then I must appreciate you, Mr. Zuru, for your insights. I mean, with General Musa now confirmed as Minister of Defense, Nigerians will be watching closely to see how his commitments on security, transparency, and community resilience are put into action. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Politics Tonight. Abdullah Idris Zuru is a contemporary affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to you.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.
Wherever we go, we carry the taste of home with us. Because, as everyone knows, it's never just food. It's moments shared and memories made. And no matter where we are, it's the things we share that keep us together. Remitly, every transfer brings you closer.
Ashantiwa was born on 17th October 1814 Bisiase, present-day Ghana. The daughter of Kwaku, Ampoma and Atapo, her brother Afrani Panin became the chief of Edweso, a nearby community. After a childhood without incident, she cultivated crops on the land around Boankra. She entered a polygamous marriage with a man from Kumasi, with whom she had a daughter. She was appointed by her brother, Nana Akwasi Afrani Opese, ruler of Edweso. When her brother died in 1894, Ashantiwa used her right as Queen Mother to nominate her own grandson as Ejisuhene, when the British exiled her grandson to the Seychelles in 1896. Along with the King of Ashanti Prempeh I and other members of the Ashanti government, Ashantiwa became the regent of the Ejisu Juaben district in the Ashanti Empire, now part of modern-day Ghana. After the exile of Prempeh I, the British Governor-General of the Gold Coast, Frederick Hodgson, demanded the Golden Stool, the symbol of the Ashanti nation. There was a disagreement among the members of the Ashanti government at Kumasi on how to go about this. In 1900, she led the Ashanti War, also known as the War of the Golden Stool, against the British Empire. The Ashanti-British War of the Golden Stool, also known as the Ashantiwa War, was led by Queen Mother Nana Ashantiwa with an army of about 5,000. During the fighting, Queen Ashantiwa and 15 other closest advisors were captured, and they too were sent into exile to the Seychelles. Her dream for an Ashanti independence from colonial rule was realized on 6 March 1957, when the Ashanti Protectorate gained independence as part of Ghana. Ghana was the first African nation in West Africa to achieve this feat. She was a successful farmer and mother, an intellectual, a politician, a human rights activist, a queen, and a war leader. Nana Ashantiwa died in exile at the Seychelles on 17th October 1921.
Get ready to step into the heartbeat of your city like never before. Welcome to Events Diary, where every moment is a celebration. From the electric energy of Owambe extravaganza, to the richness of our culture, to the sophistication of corporate gatherings, Events Diary is your VIP pass to the hottest gatherings in Nigeria. And guess what? I'll be your guide, your style icon. Each week, join me as I transform from traditional chic to corporate sleek. Whether it's a birthday bash or a high-profile gala, you won't just see it, you'll feel like you're right there with me. Aww. From meetings to evening soirees, I'll be there. Or to the trendiest street festivals or to music concerts, Events Diary has something for everyone. So join me as we explore the vibrant tapestry of Nigerian scene, one event at a time.
I write to request the kind approval of the National Assembly.
Behind every decision, every vote,
The ayes have it.
and every heated debate lies the heartbeat of democracy.
This matter is very, very important.
I therefore rule you out of order.
Welcome to the place where it all unfolds. Every week, I take you inside the inner workings of the assembly, where laws are shaped, decisions are made, and the future of the nation is decided.
The ayes have it.
Join me, Tijesu Adeoye, and other seasoned experts, analysts, and lawmakers at the National Assembly as they uncover the real stories behind the headlines and offer unfiltered insight on the most pressing issues of the day. This is your front row seat to the heart of power. Watch the Hallowed Chambers every Saturday at 9 p.m. only on TVC News.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
The Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna State was designed in the mid-1960s by renowned English architects Jane Drew and Maxwell Fry. It emerged during a period when Nigeria was building civic institutions to reflect the ambition of a young and hopeful nation. The stadium was completed and opened in the year 1965. Originally listed with a seating capacity of about 16,000, the stadium was built as a multi-purpose arena with athletics and football at its heart. Yet, over the decades, Ahmadu Bello Stadium has witnessed far more bodies than seats. For major matches, crowds have surged into tens or thousands, producing unforgettable scenes and memories that have become part of Kaduna's sporting identity. Ahmadu Bello Stadium is more than local pride. It has been a stage for continental and global youth tournaments. The stadium has also welcomed the Super Eagles for competitive fixtures, qualifiers and friendlies that drew nationwide attention. One of its most talked about nights came in March 2016 when an African Cup of Nations qualifier between Nigeria and Egypt drew an estimated 40,000 fans, far beyond its official capacity. The chaotic overflow made international headlines, highlighting urgent concerns around crowd control and aging stadium infrastructure. And the story stretches beyond national colors. In the late 1970s, the highly publicized friendly featuring Fluminense of Brazil and events linked to Pele's tour stirred excitement across Kaduna, moments still fondly recalled in local memory. Like many mid-century arenas, Ahmadu Bello Stadium aged. For decades, it operated with minimal renovation. But in recent years, as interest in reviving Nigeria's sporting infrastructure grew, Governor Obasanjo announced a sweeping reconstruction, a complete overhaul aimed at restoring the stadium as a premier events hub and catalyst for sports development in Kaduna State. Governor Sani visited the Ahmadu Bello Stadium to assess progress on the reconstruction project. The arena is being rebuilt to meet full FIFA and World Athletics standards, positioning Kaduna as home to a modern world-class sporting complex. The governor says the 10-month project will restore the stadium's global relevance, create jobs, and boost tourism across the state.
We are going to complete this project in the next 1 year maximum, right?
Yes. Our plan is 10 months.
10 months. So I'm happy that you are working within our schedule. And as you are aware, we are determined to complete the stadium, like you said, in just 10 months. And I want to make it clear to everyone, this is not renovation. This is reconstruction of a new stadium entirely. The most important thing is that Ahmadu Bello Stadium, like you all know, is one of the most iconic stadiums in the whole of Nigeria. In the past, it hosted FIFA events here.
I'm here in Kaduna and I've come to see the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, the great Ahmadu Bello Stadium, where some of the greatest football matches in the history of our country were played. The greatest club game in the history of our country. Rangers International versus IICC Shooting Stars. Semi-final of the African Cup Winners' Cup in the year 1977 was played here at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium. And it ended in victory for Rangers International after penalty shootout. Rangers International went on to win the African Cup Winners' Cup that year. The year before, Shooting Stars had won the trophy. They became the first Nigerian club to win an African club championship. And Rangers were desperate to follow suit, having failed the year before to win the African club championship by losing in the final. That was in the year 1975. So it was a great game here. The Christian the Mudalawas, the Christian Madus, the Aloysius Atwegus of this world came here to play. And in those days, the two teams constituted the Green Eagles. That match that IICC Shooting Stars lost, after two legs, the first leg played in Lagos and the second leg played here at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, played a part in Nigeria not qualifying for the 1978 World Cup because the players were still bitter with one another. The rivalry was bitter. But that's the story of Ahmadu Bello Stadium. Today, the stadium is being demolished by the administration of Governor Ubasani, who has received the nod from the president to carry out extensive rehabilitation and rebuilding of this stadium that has a huge place in the history of sports development in our country. And I have with me Professor Benjamin Gugong, who is the Commissioner for Sports Development in Kaduna State. I also have with me the Managing Director of the Kaduna State Roads Development Agency. We call him Oga Kadra. He's all over the place. So we'll be going into the inner recesses of the Ahmadu Bello Stadium now to see the work that is going on. And these two gentlemen will be telling me why the governor took this big decision to pull down this stadium and rebuild it to give it that international touch and to enable it to regain its past, its glorious past.
Greatest iconic Ahmadu Bello Stadium. It was built in 1964. That is to say that it is 61 years old. Since it was constructed, then there has never been any major reconstruction or rebuilding or improvement of the stadium. His Excellency Senator Ubasani, when he came on board, pursued the transfer of ownership of this great stadium back to Kaduna State government. And His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu graciously approved that this stadium be transferred back to Kaduna State. As we speak now, Kaduna State are the owners of Ahmadu Bello Stadium.
So it has reverted to full ownership by Kaduna State government?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, which
yes,
means
sir.
Kaduna State can decide to do whatever it likes with it.
Yes.
You can decide to turn it to a 100-seater stadium,
yes, sir.
like
yes,
Maracana,
yes, sir.
or
yes,
the No Camp,
yes,
the Giant Stadium.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes,
like Old Trafford,
yes,
with the 76,000 capacity.
Yes, sir.
So you can choose to do whatever it
yes,
likes now.
They are improving on the seating capacity. They are changing. You can see this place that is demolished. This is where the VIP is going to be with all other offices as is required of any standard, world standard stadium. We're going to have a medical center in it. You are going to have anti-doping rooms in it. You are going to have all that a stadium needs that meets FIFA standard. And that is the essence, to be able to build a FIFA standard stadium where we can attract international and national matches now. You can see anytime there is competition, we go to Uyo and the rest of them.
Yes.
Because we don't have this kind of stadium that we need here in the north. This is going to be first of its kind in the north, and it was graciously approved by His Excellency Senator Ubasani, the governor of Kaduna State. When the property was transferred to Kaduna State, we did a needs assessment to show the level of dilapidation of this great facility. After the needs assessment, His Excellency graciously looked at it and felt that there was need to improve on it. As we speak here, this project is going to be in phases. This phase of reconstructing the VIP stand and then doing a metal work. They are going to put cover in all these seating arrangements before there was no. So there's going to be metal work that will cover. Yes.
I remember watching a match here in 1985.
Yes.
When I was doing my A-levels.
Yes, sir.
And it rained.
Yeah.
I was beaten by rain throughout. It was a match between Abiola Babes and IICC Shooting Stars.
Okay.
The rain scared with us.
I assure you.
Only a small portion of it was covered.
Yes. By the time this project is over, rain will not touch anybody, even if it's raining and there's competition going on here.
So
they're going to cover ground, and then they are going to work on the Tata track.
Okay.
Because it's a complete package.
Let's move on. So this used to be the VIP stand.
The VIP stand with other offices, changing rooms and everything, yeah. The offices complex were here.
So the changing room for the teams
will be here
used
too.
to be here.
Used to be here. Anti-doping rooms, all these things are going to be put.
I'm told about the durable subsoil and drainage system, a decades-old engineering design that still channels water effectively and prevents waterlogging. Officials also highlight the quality of the pitched natural grass, which has been maintained to remain fully FIFA standard.
Are you sure that?
Yeah. This field is not waterlogged. It is one of the things that was well maintained in this facility. This field, even though the facility became dilapidated, but the field remains standard. You can see.
This is where the water system drainage.
Yes.
That's why no matter how the field water drop, it automatically go here and it move down straight to the drainage. And it go out of the stadium. That is why Ahmadu Bello Stadium, no matter how draining it is, the water will not be
stand here.
Yes, because I remember I watched matches here during the train.
The system that has been connected and it drain it out. And our sprinklers, they are still functioning before the reconstruction.
So you retain this grass?
Yeah, because that is FIFA approved.
Yes.
No, they will actually bring grass. They are going to make it FIFA standards.
The state government plans to reinstall the tartan tracks so that international athletics competitions can also take place here. As it is, nobody can do any form of running here because the way it is, athletes are going to get injured. So everything is being done to bring the Ahmadu Bello Stadium to international standard. And it begins even with the tartan tracks. The tracks will be relayed so that they will be good enough to host international athletics competitions. So the grass, it feels very much like there is an underlay of foam on this field. The Ahmadu Bello Stadium used to have one of the best pitches in our country. And with the cell system working effectively at that time, even when it rains, the field was never waterlogged. And the players enjoyed playing even in the rain. But those of us who were watching at that time, we were always buffeted by the rains because only a small portion of the stadium was covered. But as the commissioner has told me, the reconstruction of this stadium will see the entire area being covered.
This is one of the legacy projects of His Excellency, Senator Dr. Malam Obasani. He directed the contractor to hand over this project within the next 10 calendar months.
Is that realizable?
It's realistic, Your Excellency. It's realistic. As you can see, the contractor is working day and night to deliver this project. We were here last evening. The contractor was working, and this is very, very possible. It's realizable in 10 months.
So let's talk about your principal's goal in embarking on this project. What was he really thinking when he got the president to concede this stadium to him? What was going through his mind?
Oh, actually, as we're aware, football, sports in general is one of the major revenue driving in any society. As you can see, this stadium, upon completion, based on the analysis we've gotten, if we go at 4 international matches, 4, the state will be able to recoup its investment in this. So it will stimulate economic activities in Kaduna as regards to hotel, commercial activities, yes, and what have you. So these are part of the vision of His Excellency for the great Kaduna State.
Instead of just leaving it
lying fallow.
Yes.
Without any addition. As you can see, this stadium, as Commissioner of Sports said, was built 1964. It was designed by a British architect. Since then, there was no major...
The female architect?
Female architect. Jane Dream. She was the one that designed this great stadium. So, a female British architect.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what capacity, I know you must have had some discussions with the governor.
Yeah.
What is the seating capacity that you people have in mind?
Presently, the stadium is 16,000 capacity. Yes. But this is reconstruction. The governor is increasing the capacity to FIFA standard. So the minimum standard for FIFA is 20,000. 20,000. You have 30,000 and 40,000. With 40,000, you can the stadium can host a World Cup final. With 40,000 capacity, it will host a World Cup final. So that's what we are looking at. So it's we're
you thinking about 30 or 40?
We are going to 25 to 30.
Okay, that's good. Yes. And you are confident that in 10 months, if I come back here, this project will have been completed?
By God, in 10 months.
Christopher McKinney, one of the lead contractors, tells me about his experience working in London and other major cities. He assures us of the quality and durability of the work they plan to deliver. He adds that the state government has provided all necessary resources to ensure completion within record time.
At the moment, everything's very challenging to get out of the ground, as they say, you know. We're here only on a consulting basis, you know, but Maxine, you know. So, no, it's, what can I say? We're working hard to get it.
So how much experience handling this kind of project do you have?
Yeah, too many, yeah. Yeah, I worked in London and in Ireland for a long time, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are eminently qualified.
I think so, yes.
Okay. I like your modesty.
Yeah, yeah.
The governor wants this project delivered in 10 months. Are you certain that you will meet his timeline?
Yes, we hope so, yeah. I don't see a big problem, you know. I know they're a bit behind at the moment, but I'm sure we can accelerate the push on once we get into the time frame again, you know.
Okay. Are there some challenges or demands that you think?
No, I think we're okay for that.
You're okay?
Yeah, I think we're okay.
All the things that you need have been provided?
All the stuff has been provided at the moment, yeah. And if that keeps up, I can see us pushing forward faster, you know.
The inflationary trend affects a lot of materials that you need in production.
Specific to what you said, in fact, that was part of what we discussed at the beginning of the project.
Yes.
And the MD was very much concerned about that. And so I'm happy to inform you that every material we need for this project have all been procured.
Okay.
If you go a bit away from me, you see the steel yard. We have about over 160 tons of iron rods are there already.
Yes.
We have all the panels, the boards, you can see them, they are still offloading. Everything is procured, so we don't envisage to have problem on that, except, of course, fluctuation in labor rate, which is not a problem. There's a provision to take care for that.
Okay. Yeah. A part of your responsibility is this pitch, bringing this pitch to international standard. Right. Tell me exactly what you plan to do with this pitch.
Okay, I'll start by saying I'm very happy to confirm it from you again that this stadium was designed by a British architect, specifically a lady. And the standard that was followed, you know, is the British standard of designs, and construction was specifically followed. In fact, we observed that during the demolition. So we had envisaged a 2 weeks demolition period, but then we spent almost 3 weeks because the structure was so strong, solid, because specifications were really followed. Back then, compromise was not part of the mindset and thinking. So we're now a lot happy. So, looking at that, we are also from Britain. I work in Britain. We are consulting to him from Britain. He worked from Ireland. So he told you we have a couple of stadiums. It's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third.
Yeah.
So we're very familiar with what is expected here. We have the designs, the specification are well laid out, and meet up with what is expected of us as far as the project is concerned.
I'm talking specifically about the pitch now.
Yeah.
What is your plan? Are you going to remove what we have there and replant?
To the best of my understanding, as per the drawings we have right now, what we are going to do, we are not removing everything. We are going to kind of rehabilitate what we have here, remodel what we have here, then put it up to a standard that it will be efficiently used for whatever that is needed for, and then in line with the specification of FIFA standard. Because we're talking about FIFA now. I think while we were talking a while ago, we were talking about FIFA. You know, the standard of FIFA cut across, in fact, mostly pitch is number one.
Yes.
And of course, the structures around the building is number two. So these are all carefully being followed. But so far, what we have is to remodel what we have here and then bring it up to standard. For now, it could change, but for now, that's what we have.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Okay. That's the scoreboard.
Yeah, the screen.
As a fan and a journalist who has watched and covered matches here, I headed towards the scoreboard, a nostalgic landmark of the stadium's past.
TV crews used to make use of this platform back in the day so that they can get a good view of the stadium and the match being played. But the engineers have told me that this will give way completely in the redesign and rebuilding of the Ahmadu Bello Stadium. So this will be removed and replaced with something modern, not like what we are seeing now. This is not how it is in Europe and America, and they are telling me that this will be replaced and something better will be put in its place. The 1993 set of Flying Eagles that won the Under-17 World Championship played its last qualifier here at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium against Algeria. That match was won by 4-1 by Nigeria. And we had in that team players like Teslim Fatusi, Nwankwo Kanu, Wilson Oruma. Great players, coached by Fani Amu, at some point assisted by Clemens Westerhoff to enable us qualify for the World Cup, which they eventually won. Many Nigerians will remember that fleet-footed right fullback, Mobi Okparaku, who operated from the right flank. He straddled the right flank, and he played here on that day, along with other great players like Emmanuel Babayaro and his younger brother. Emmanuel Babayaro was one of the goalkeepers. His younger brother, who along with him were playing the KKD field here in Kaduna. KKD is Kaduna Kick and Die in Tudunwada. That was where their talents were discovered, and they eventually played for the Nigerian national team. Emmanuel Babayaro as well as Celestine Babayaro, two Kaduna boys who also played on this great pitch of the Ahmadu Bello Stadium.
I also visited the area set aside as the new training pitches. As its reconstruction gathers momentum, Ahmadu Bello Stadium enters a fresh era. For the people of Kaduna State, the dream remains unchanged. The cheers that once swelled to gigantic roars from these stands many years ago will return, louder, safer, and shining under new floodlights.
Wherever we go, we carry the taste of home with us. Because, as everyone knows, it's never just food. It's moments shared and memories made. And no matter where we are, it's the things we share that keep us together. Remitly, every transfer brings you closer.
Yaa Ashantewa was born on 17th October 1814 Bisiase, present-day Ghana. The daughter of Kwaku, Apoma and Atapo, her brother Afrani Panin became the chief of Edweso, a nearby community. After a childhood without incident, she cultivated crops on the land around Boankra. She entered a polygamous marriage with a man from Kumasi, with whom she had a daughter. She was appointed by her brother, Nana Akwasi Afrani Opese, ruler of Edweso. When her brother died in 1894, Yaa Ashantewa used her right as Queen Mother to nominate her own grandson as Ejisuhene when the British exiled her grandson to the Seychelles in 1896. Along with the King of Ashanti Prempeh I and other members of the Ashanti government, Yaa Ashantewa became the regent of the Ejisu-Juaben district in the Ashanti Empire, now part of modern-day Ghana. After the exile of Prempeh I, the British Governor-General of the Gold Coast, Frederick Hodgson, demanded the Golden Stool, the symbol of the Ashanti nation. There was a disagreement among the members of the Ashanti government at Kumasi on how to go about this. In 1900, she led the Ashanti War, also known as the War of the Golden Stool, against the British Empire. The Ashanti-British War of the Golden Stool, also known as the Yaa Ashantewa War, was led by Queen Mother Nana Yaa Ashantewa with an army of about 5,000. During the fighting, Queen Yaa Ashantewa and 15 other closest advisors were captured, and they too were sent into exile to the Seychelles. Her dream for an Ashanti independence from colonial rule was realized on 6 March 1957, when the Ashanti Protectorate gained independence as part of Ghana. Ghana was the first African nation in West Africa to achieve this feat. She was a successful farmer and mother, an intellectual, a politician, a human rights activist, a queen, and a war leader. Nana Yaa Ashantewa died in exile at the Seychelles on 17th October 1921.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
What I will never take.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News, first with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
imaginations are sculptured through drawings, paintings, making music, and many more creative and expressive ways of creating art. Now, many refer to art as a tool of escape, storytelling, and food for the soul. Welcome to another Time Out. I am Tolakwe Lamidi. First on gallery, the Center for Contemporary Art, CCA, presents Owufield Fadin Thread, an exhibition of entangled histories, memories, and resistance. Let's go there.